Welcome to the Coach Toolbox. I'm your host, Dr. Ajay Nangalia, a leadership coach and counselor. This channel supports your professional and personal development as a leader with research-based and practice-focused learning. And we bring you the best career and life advice from guests who've been there and done that successfully. And now, our session today.
Till you meet that special person, life seems a bit less grounded or unstable. And then you finally meet that special person and it's rainbows and roses. Well, at least in the movies and perhaps sometimes in real life as well. Now, time goes on and the relationship, which was wild and passionate and adventurous, tends to mature into a peace-filled pace that we enjoy. There is a maturity in the relationship that moves from being a fizzy soda to the deeper roundness of a single malt. Well, at least for some of us, and certainly if you're reading the right romantic novel or watching a happy rom-com. Now let's come to the real world of relationships. In reality, many relationships start off as very cordial and loving, perhaps because of the large number of family and friends involved in making it happen. But in due time, and that's certainly more than 2 weeks or so, things to get a bit frictional and the rainbow and roses get fictional. And as time wears on, many relationships slip into a spectrum ranging from peaceful but insipid to turbulent and toxic. Now, just hold on. I've painted a very cynical picture of relationships. But what if I told you that there was a way in which the rainbow and roses can be actually part of your relationship, not in a fictional way, but in a very real way that works for you and for your partner? So let's talk about these practices today. And if you're just starting out with that special person in your life, or if you've been in a relationship for some time, here are some easy to do practices that can ignite or reignite the love, respect, and affection that is integral to mature and successful relationships. Now, as a counselor, I've seen partners apply these practices in relationships that are solid, and in couples where these practices are lacking, usually the relationships are less than optimal or in deep distress. Now, I'm not suggesting these practices are magic or that everything will be magically solved, especially if there are some systemic dysfunctions in your relationship. That will require more serious work with your counselor. But these practices can prevent you from getting there in the first place, and it will take some work, but it's certainly worth it. Now, be sure to listen to this conversation along with your partner. Perhaps you can stop at each point and have a chat together and then continue. And I'll tell you when to pause and when to talk. So don't be in a rush. So let's talk about point number 1. What are some things that you really like about your partner? What do you think are some of her or his strengths? What are some things that you really like about your partner? What are some of his or her strengths? Many times we know this but have never really articulated it, or it's even rarer to have expressed it. The pressure of managing relationships within the context of life and work often amplifies the areas that are annoying or irritating or frustrating in our partner, and this tends to take up the airspace. There is a radio silence on all the strengths or the good things about the other person, and you and I take this for granted or believe that the other person knows that we know it. But this is not true. We need to hear the good stuff, maybe 5 or 10 times more than hear the irritating stuff. And if the ratio of the good stuff is 5 or 10 times more, then the occasional tiffs don't erode the relationship. So now when we pause at the end of point 1 with your partner, discuss this. What do you see as her or his strengths? Tell them some of the things that you really enjoy about them and about hanging out with them. Thank them for something that they have done for you, no matter how small, and share things about them that you're grateful for. Take your time and perhaps even the rest of the day just to focus and talk on this aspect. You won't have to look outside to see the rainbow and the roses. It'll be right there in front of you. So pause now. Let's get back to the second aspect. The second aspect of a healthy relationship. And this is knowing what your partner really likes and dislikes. Do you know this? Once you're clear about the likes and dislikes, the next step is respecting what he or she likes and supporting them as much as possible, and being very sensitive and considerate about the things that they don't like. Once again, we may have a good idea about it, but talking about it, listing it out, and then discussing how each of us can be respectful and considerate about the things that the other person does not like minimizes the sparks that can flare up. Talk about the things that each of you like and explore ways to enjoy it together. Or perhaps one partner can give the other space and freedom to explore. So when we pause now and talk about what each one likes and dislikes, ask yourselves or talk about these things. How could you support each other to honor the things that the person likes and be respectful of the boundaries around the dislikes? And as you talk about this aspect, there's certainly an opportunity to apologize for some things, perhaps to make up, to forgive, and to commit to a new start. So why not do it now when you pause? Pause now. Okay, building from the previous topic, let's come to point number 3. Let's talk about what your partner considers disrespect. What would be disrespectful to your partner? What would make them feel shame or embarrassment, especially in front of others? We certainly never want to do any of this intentionally, but if we know clearly what is disrespectful, then we are going to do our best to not let this happen. And as you pause once again to talk about it, I encourage you to apologize if you realize that something has happened that has been disrespectful. Just apologize. Don't explain or rationalize or justify. Let it be an unconditional apology. And for the other partner, I encourage you to make a conscious choice to accept the apology and forgive. It's not important that you feel it. It's a cognitive choice, so do it. And as your relationship heals, the anger and bitterness around disrespect will get easier to deal with. So right now when you pause is also not the time to get into some deep-rooted hurts and issues of the past. Perhaps that work will happen best once some rebuilding has started, and also it might be best if you have your counselor present. So go ahead and pause now. Let's move on to a brighter note. So point number 4 is, how does your partner enjoy spending time? Surely many of us know this, but the challenge is that we don't really like or enjoy what our partner enjoys, so then the opportunity to spend time together is lost. So now when you pause, talk about how you enjoy spending time and what really gives you fun or an adrenaline rush or just calm and peace and joy. And as you talk about it, plan how you can do some of these things together today or in this week. And then look at how you can make these fun activities a part of your schedule and of your life. Both of you, some together and some perhaps independently. So pause now and let's talk about these fun things. And finally, to close our conversation, here's something which is point number 5, and here's something that you need to do lots and lots of. And that is showing appreciation towards your partner. How do you show appreciation towards him or her? And how often? It's wonderful to show appreciation for the little and small things in life, a cup of tea or coffee or an errand done. Look for the simple and small things that usually we take for granted, and we think it's not important to express appreciation to her or to him. Understand this about human nature. None of us can ever be filled up with appreciation. We always want it, need it, and it makes us feel good about ourselves and the other. So be lavish with appreciation in ways, of course, that are authentic and heartfelt. So when you pause now, ask each other, in what ways can you demonstrate your appreciation towards your partner? What would appeal to them? And in addition to what they say, look for ways in the coming week to appreciate them in small ways, especially for the small things. So pause right now and spend some time sharing what you really appreciate about them. Well, in conclusion, it's time now to bring our session to a close. The secret of bringing in the rainbow and roses in your relationship lies in the small ways that you learn to interact with each other. And today we've spoken about 5 elements that you weave into your life. And these are: number 1, to focus on what you like about the other, the strengths that they have and bring to your life. Number 2, getting to know their likes and dislikes and learning to respect and honor these. Number 3, to never be disrespectful, especially in front of others. Number 4, doing things that you enjoy both as partners and individually. And finally, number 5, making appreciation an ongoing and authentic part of the way you connect with each other. I encourage you to listen to this episode together once again in a month or so and see how the rainbow and the roses are blooming. Now, today was part 1 of our series on igniting or reigniting your relationship as a couple. There are 2 more episodes covering some very important conversations that you both must stay tuned for. So if you found our session useful, please also share it with friends and family. You can subscribe to the channel so you won't miss out on the new episodes when they are released. Thank you for joining me in this conversation, and if you both feel that it might help you guys to have a live conversation with a counselor, then feel free to reach out to me. God bless.
And that's it for today. Thank you for listening. Please connect with us on coachtoolbox@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to follow, subscribe, and review this channel. Details of our ICF-approved coach training programs and our services as executive coaches and coaching supervisors are on www.globalcoachtrust.org. See you in our next session.